Angela Jones with the Hampton Roads Messenger, and Hosey Burgess with the Virginia Employment Commission is joining me today to discuss navigating unemployment during the coronavirus pandemic. Who can actually file for unemployment benefits?
Anyone can file for unemployment insurance benefits. All they need is they have to have their social security number and know that where, an idea of where they worked and so forth. Anyone can file one. Now, to be eligible for one, they have to go through certain things. First, we look at eligibility. And what that means is they were attached to had a W-2 relationship with an employer, and an employer that would be required to pay unemployment insurance benefits. Some of the folks that aren't, that don't have to be what we call a covered employer, something like churches and religious organizations and not-for-profit organizations, where they may not, where they may not have to. Now, if they elect to pay covered funds, then they can. But in general, what I see, give an example with churches. Some churches, the religious part of the church, where the pastor and those employees that are around the pastor for providing the religious services, they may not be eligible. But if they start a school or something like that, and they have other teachers and other facility members and whatnot, they may elect to do that. But it's all based on whether they want to be covered or not covered.
Now, are there any special stipulations now during the pandemic for who can apply? Are there people who may not have been eligible previously that may be eligible now?
Yes, there is under the pandemic unemployment insurance. What we have to do is we make sure that they're not qualified for any regular unemployment benefits. And so the first requirement is for them to file a claim. And if there is no wages out there because they were self-employed or some other category, and I can share with you a list of checklist of things they look at. But if they were unemployed and they were not attached to any organization, any employment, they were a gig worker, then they can file a claim under the PUA after they file a claim and be determined that they're not eligible for regular unemployment insurance benefits.
Okay. Can you kind of walk us through the process from how someone would apply?
I was wondering if I can share a document with flow chart with you.
Sure.
Okay, what you're looking at here is the flow chart. And what we were talking about before, if you're already, it kind of gives you the starting points. If you were operating and where you were laid off through the COVID-19 situation, and you were employed worker with any employer that laid you off, you can come in and apply for UI benefits. And that go through the normal process. Okay, and then if you're not traditionally eligible for UI benefits, say you're self-employed or gig worker or some other category, and I'll share you with a checklist of categories, then once you still apply for UI benefits, and if you're not eligible, it says then, and we normally send you a letter telling you you're not eligible based on your wages or no lack of wages and so forth like that. And then that way you can go in and apply. And then when you apply, it follows a link down to where it says apply for pandemic unemployment insurance assistance. And so then there you go. And so then and now that's going to take you to a separate app, an application. And it's done on the Gov2Go site. It's a new app that we're using right now, and it's not connected with our regular UI system.
Hmm.
But so that allowed you to apply for your job. It asks specific questions directly toward those self-employed and also those gig workers and type and like that. Uh, and it doesn't ask the traditional UI questions and so forth like that. So that's how they can apply. But it uses the same principles. Where it says pandemic unemployment assistance, one of our traditional things, it's the same thing as disaster unemployment assistance. If there were, like I said, back a few years ago when they had a hurricane come through the area and FEMA came out and so forth, we came out with FEMA and we did disaster unemployment insurance. So pandemic and disaster, the same concept. And the only difference is the state sets the range of what they're going to pay. And right now, it starts out initially at $158 per week for the pandemic. Plus, as you can see, the other part of this is the federal pandemic unemployment compensation from the federal government. So the federal government says that anyone who qualifies for regular unemployment insurance under this the situation here, COVID-19 situation, anyone qualified for the pandemic unemployment insurance assistance, and also for the extended regular unemployment insurance, they will all get a FPUC, which is the Federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation, which is that additional $600 if you qualify for any of those three programs, up through July 25th, 2020.
Okay, so you said something about 158.
Yes,
Is that the amount that everyone receives, or you said it starts at 158?
It starts at 158. As they're getting, because normally we look at what the wages are when a person files regular unemployment insurance. Mm-hmm. There's a range of payment between, if you do for the minimum amount they pay is $60 a week, up to $378 for Virginia, and that's based on from the legislators determining the average weekly cost of average weekly wage of a Virginian. Mm-hmm. And they kind of make it somewhere around I would say maybe 40 to 50, between 45 and 50% of the average weekly wage of a Virginian nation statewide. And so that's where they come with 378 as a max. And in order to qualify for that, what we do is we look at the first 4 of the last 5 quarters. And that's what we call a base period. So if a person filed their claim after April of this year, we're going to look at the first 4 quarters of the last 5 quarters. So that's January through December 2019. Okay, so, and if they had wages in there, we take the 2 highest quarters of earnings and add them together. And in order to get the minimum, which is $60 a week, when we add your 2 highest quarters of earnings together, you had to earn at least $3,000. Okay. So if you had $2,500 in one quarter and $501 in another quarter, you qualified.
Okay.
Okay. If you didn't have that, then what we also do is this. I think a few years ago, I think it was Governor Warner. He put in place that for people who didn't qualify, maybe they just started working or something like that. He created what we call an alternate base period, where then when they qualified, they would jump ahead to see if we can find some additional wages for you to qualify in. Okay, so if they're not qualified at all, then they file a pandemic. Okay, so what that is that's a different source. So initially, to get payments out to people as fast as possible, they started out at the base of 158, and then plus, if they did with the 158, the $600 would follow. And so they would get that all in the same payment. So they would actually get $758 per week.
And how long does it take once someone files for unemployment? What's the time period to start actually receiving a check?
Well, I'm gonna cover both the normal situation, and I'll cover this pandemic situation. For the normal situation, in Virginia, they have a law called the waiting week. The first week they qualify for unemployment benefits, that becomes the waiting week. And then the next week they qualify, that'll be the first payable week. And like I said, so in a sense, if somebody qualified for the maximum, 26 weeks is the normal max. So in Virginia, so if they qualify for 26 weeks, if they really drew all payments out, they technically would have qualified for 27 weeks. Being the first week they qualified was the waiting period, and then the next weeks they just drew their benefits out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, under the pandemic, the governor has executed an executive order that says we're going to waive the waiting week. So a person files their claim on, say they filed their claim on Monday, this past Monday, and we get all their information in the system, and it's and then on Sunday they claim that week. Sunday that person would claim for the week ending of Sunday was March the 24th, I believe. So
Mm-hmm.
the 24th through the 28th, it asks you certain questions about about your situation, or are you able and available to work and all that. That's part of the question that they ask each week, and so forth. So, and you answer the question and everything is good, then you would get paid as we process that payment on Monday, and probably by Wednesday that payment may be in your bank account. And we have two methods of paying. It's either a bank account, because we're going to ask you when you file your claim, how do you want your payments to come to you? And there's two methods: a direct deposit into your savings or bank account, or a debit card. The Gov2Go card, it's a debit card that comes out. It's the same card that people use when they get SNAP benefits and things like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Have you seen any situations that are unusual that have come up, and they're normally unusual, but during this pandemic time, it's more common and something that people may need to know about,
Well,
that they have to take care of?
We're implementing new technology because we're, with the pandemic unemployment insurance assistance, we are using a separate site that we contracted out to have a company build us an application for it. And it's actually an app that you can go to, and you can create your account like you're doing with your bank. Mm-hmm. And you can create you can download the app from the Apple or the Android app stores and stuff like that, and use it. And that way you can file your claim and do everything you would just like you would at a bank, and you would just answer questions each week. After you file your initial application for your PUA and whatnot, and then it lets you certify each week as you go through that. Sunday through Saturday, you report what you earn. Eventually, and like I said, when it starts out at 158, eventually they're going to start asking people to provide us their 1099 documents or any kind of income that they earned during calendar year 2019. At that time, they will look at how Virginia wants to calculate it, and I think what they determined is that the max is going to be 378 for the PUA claimants also. So they're going to gather the data in, and then they're going to recalculate and send out another monetary determination saying now you qualify for this. And then what they'll do is, with if that new model that they come up with after they get your wages in, they'll adjust it and pay back retroactively to when you filed your claim.
Has there been a date set yet where the extra $600 a week that's coming from the federal government that's going to end?
That date is going to be July 25th of 2020, okay, based on the legislation documents that we've seen. Mm-hmm. But so it's temporary, but it was designed to help people stay in place so that our economy would maintain and people would have spending money, and so they wouldn't have to leave the area or deplete a lot of because mostly we're trying to get these employers back to bringing folks back. And I know the governor has some methods of what he's trying to do with phase 1 and phase 2 of reopening the economy back. So, but that's what that was designed for.
So, people who are looking for a job currently, you all have services for that as well, right?
Yes, we do. Uh, I'll tell you what, we are limiting that service because most of my staff have really turned into customer contact center claims folks now. We put our hat on for that because uh, the amount of work, but we're still doing. We're helping employers help people find jobs. Uh, but we are all hands trying to make sure that the benefits are getting paid out as fast as we can.
And there's a website that people can go to if they're looking for a job.
Yes, uh-huh. The,
And
the
yeah,
www.vawc.virginia, spell all the way out, .gov.
so you don't have to be receiving unemployment benefits to be able to go online and look at this database of
No, you don't.
positions that are
It's,
currently open. There still are employers that are currently looking for
oh yes,
people.
we have a lot of lot of open jobs, not as many as we had before, but I think they're going to be coming back because a lot of employers have laid off. I'm hearing tell that some employers are calling their employees back
Mhm.
right, as we speak. And in fact, that's one of the things that the employers were kind of reluctant about, is that they wanted to make sure that when we do call them back, that they do come back.
And what would you say to people who aren't feeling comfortable about going back right now? They don't know if it's safe. They may have some type of pre-existing conditions and they're concerned about their health. Uh, are there any special stipulations for those people?
Well, what we look at is this: if they were doing this job before, and we understand that the state and federal government guidelines coming from CDC have put information out to businesses in various occupations and industries that have people put in place. We're still maintaining the social distancing. Some organizations are having folks not tested, so to speak, but the temperature is taken, encouraging safety. They're putting up the shields like you see in the stores and all the other places where people have to. So if that company's doing all those things and making it safer for that individual to work, and unless that individual has something from a medical authority, a doctor or whatever, saying it is not safe for you to go back to work, we have to have something something that's not just the fear, but just something in place, concrete, that says this person cannot do this work anymore.
Right. Also, if someone is denied a claim, is there a process that they can?
Yes, we have what we call an appeals process, because if two things can happen when a person files their claim. If they're deemed eligible, obviously we send funding. We put the money out there because we try to pay as fast as possible. And sometimes people get confused in that, because we send them a letter initially when the person files. The system automatically goes in and looks for wages under that person's social security number in our state revenue system. We find wages, we generate that monetary determination, and it says monetarily you're eligible. Some people get confused about that, saying I'm qualified, but no, you're eligible monetarily. We also look at the separation qualification. If it comes back that when the person files their claim, we also communicate back with the employer that they were attached to, and we let them know that this person filed a claim from your organization, and it's called a separation report that we sent to them, and they said they were laid off. Well, if that employer says no, that person quit, or that whatever, or they were terminated because they did something that was egregious or wrong for the industry, then that's what sets up what we call a fact-finding interview, which is one of our hearing officers who will adjudicate that claim by having a meeting. Normally, it's going to be a telephone meeting between the employer and the claimant, and they'll hear both sides, and then they'll make a determination. What they're determining is, if they were let go for willful misconduct, then they may not be eligible for benefits. And, the bar is on the employer to prove willful misconduct. Say they weren't coming to work, that's willful misconduct. Or they were driving the vehicles drunk, so forth like that. Things like that would generate, known misconduct. If they voluntarily quit, they would have to have a good reason to quit. But you still got to call in every week, or either you can use the internet to claim your weeks, and you're going to answer a group of questions for us. It asks, are you able, and normally it will ask, are you able and available to work during the week? Obviously, if you're incarcerated or you're in a hospital, you may not be eligible for that week because of that condition. And right now, we're not asking people to look for work during the COVID situation, because we're saying that most of the people are going to go back to work with their parent employer. That's the goal. But that's going to end sometime after we start reopening the economy, and nobody, hopefully we get everybody back to work. Because right now, the only thing we're waiting for now is the PEUC application to be developed and promulgated out.
You said PEUC?
Yeah, the PEUC, that's the extension. For the person who, for the extensions, anyone who exhausted their, say they had a claim in 2019 and they exhausted their benefits as of after July 1st of 2019. So anyone who had a claim after July 1st of 2019 and they exhausted it between now and that date. Again, what they do is like the flow chart does, they file a regular unemployment benefits to make sure that there's no other employment, no other work that was been done that they would qualify regularly for UI. Then they would, after they get that notification that they are not qualified for regular UI anymore, they would file their PEUC claim, that pandemic unemployment emergency unemployment compensation website. Tell people to check out our website, which is on the www.vec.virginia.gov, and click on COVID-19 updates. And under the CARES Act, you'll have that PUC, so they can check that link every day. I would recommend they do that, because different things get put on is because people are still working on this system, and things may be coming up that they may finally get something up that people can input their information in and start filing their emergency extension claim.
Okay. And we can put both of these pages on our website, hamptonroadsmessenger.com.
Okay.
Under jobs, we have a jobs tab, and we can include this information as well as this video.
I look at this as a good partnership tool, because again, you can know my phone rings off the hook.
Right.
But if you can do this, that might may allow me to answer, have me and my staff do more work, because if it gets out there and they can see exactly what I'm telling you, because I'm constantly doing this all day long, and this helps out a lot to get it out to the multitude of people. I really appreciate what you're doing, Angela.
And thank you so much, Mr. Burgess. As I said, Virginia Employment Commission, thanks for talking to the Hampton Roads Messenger, and we will talk again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.